Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I know we are going to be talking today about the, not one of the latest, I heard about this a few months ago, the latest workplace or job market trend called coffee. Let me make sure I get this right. Coffee badging? I don't think I've ever heard of it. Well, I heard some things buzzing around, but I wasn't exactly sure what this really meant. We're going to dig in and see what they're talking about to just make sure that, of course, we have a better understanding of what it is that coffee badging actually means. And is it something that we want to jump onto or not? I'm going to be going over this article just to kind of get a better sense of what it is. Because, of course, a lot of these supposed, not to talk about any specific platform, TikTok trends or other trends that you hear about out there, a lot of them are just rebranded things in the job market. That's all that has already been happening. And of course, guys, as you come into the chat, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and anywhere else that you are watching this live stream. Okay, guys, so let me jump in here and see. Let's get into this. All right, let's see where we can find out what the heck does this coffee badging really means. And of course, as you're coming in, say hello, drop the city and state that you're hailing from, so we can jump into discussion together to see if this is something that's beneficial or not. All right, so Fox Business talks about the fact this story was written not even a day ago by Erica Lamberg from Fox Business. New coffee badging job trends has some business leaders on high alert. Whoa. Okay, before we listen to that, I just want to get into the article a little bit. In post-pandemic times, many employers and companies are continuing to mandate a return to the office for their workers, and some employees are responding with a particular form of pushback. First, there was a trend of quiet quitting. Well, we talk about that extensively on this channel, in which workers did the bare minimum on the job just to get by, and now, what they used to call coasting back in the day, now say workplace leaders and experts that there's coffee badging, another form of employee protest. Read on to learn about this career trend and how it's impacting offices across the nation and what actions can be taken in response to it. So, of course, employers want people to come back in the office. Employees are now, I guess this is another way to react to it. So let's get into this. As some employees are being called back to the office, many are subtly protesting by returning to the office for as little time as possible. Frank Weishaupt, I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize in advance. The CEO of Owl Labs in Boston told Fox Business, "You've just gotten fired, and here's how to forgive yourself and move on." Coffee badging, of course, here's a definition, folks, is when employees show up to the office for enough time to have a cup of coffee, show their face, get a badge swipe, then go home to do the rest of their work, says the CEO. Okay. So let me see here. His firm, Owl Labs, which makes 360 video conferencing devices, did a deep dive into the trends data. Our 2023 State of Hybrid Work reports found that only 1 in 5 workers, 22%, well, 20, if it's 1 in 5, it should be 20, not 22, but okay. 22% want to be in the office full-time, and 37% want hybrid work options, and 41% prefer to be fully remote, obviously, says Weishaupt. Further, he said that Owl Labs study found that more than 58% of the hybrid workers are coffee badging, while of the other 8%, they have not done it yet, but would like to try it. Okay. All right. And of course, people at all levels of companies and organizations are busy at their own jobs, so they don't have time to keep tabs on everyone else's whereabouts, says Weishaupt. How reading your room at work can give you a career edge. If a coffee badger doesn't have any in-person meetings or desks near the boss, the person might not be missed, he said. Our data shows that about 2/3 of the managers, 64%, have coffee badge themselves, with another 6% who want to try it, he also said. Less than a third of the managers, 30%, want to go to the office for a full day. Nikki Gorgensen, the managing director of client implementation with Insperity, Denver told Fox Business that several months ago, coffee badging began making news as the latest work trend. Oh boy. Coffee badging is simply in the latest examples of challenges businesses are facing with transitioning employees back to the office after the pandemic, she said. It's important for each business to do its own research into coffee badging, Gorgonson suggested. There's no need to panic over coffee badging, yet if a business finds most of its employees are coffee badging, that could reflect the need to reevaluate their organization's culture and work from home policies, she said. She told Fox News. Want a job with a completely different industry? Here's a critical career tip from experts. Often, but not always, coffee badging is a reflection of employees' dissatisfaction with an organization's culture or hybrid policies, said Gorgensen. Coffee badging can seem disrespectful or even subordinate to business leaders who expect their employees to spend a full day in the office, she said. It's important to understand that motivations for coffee badging are rarely ill-intentioned, she clarified. In many cases, employees are coffee badging because they want to improve their work-life balance. Company managers may want to focus on few strategies to halt coffee badging amongst employees, Gorgonson said. Number one, implementing flexible work hours. To encourage employees to spend more time at the office, consider flex hours so that they can come in an hour earlier or an hour or later, she said. Encourage employees to get together. Employees want to socialize with one another, said Gorgonson. Given this, leaders can create opportunities for employees to socialize by planning events over lunch or immediately after hours, she said. Embracing open communication, of course. At the end of the day, that's really what it's about. Embracing open communication. Coffee badging can be a symptom of overworked, burnt out, and disengaged employees, Gorgonson suggested. To combat it, invite employees to speak about their experience in the workplace and share solutions to help them balance their work and personal lives more easily. When the practice becomes too widespread among employees, the trend can detract from organizational cultures, Gorgonson indicated. When workers only come into the office briefly and then leave, they are not spending as much time interacting face to face, she told Fox Business. Over time, this can undermine relationship building and reduce collaboration. Whatever happened to collaborating over technology means. But anyway, let's keep going. Emily Balsteris, founder of Burnout Management LLC in Seattle, the author of the upcoming book, The Cure for Burnout, How to Find Balance and Reclaim Your Life. It's coming out in 2024, told Fox Business that a downside to the coffee badging trend is that it creates unpredictability that can impact others. Trying to schedule meetings when you're unsure who is virtual or in person. Planning around commutes to and from the office needs clarification on whether a meeting is virtual or in person. All of this adds to a bit more unpredictability for the workday that can cause frustration, Balsteria said. To reduce unpredictability, many companies are introducing hybrid schedules. They have seen surveys that employees that their employees would like the flexibility of work from home sometimes, she said. So rather than having a constant flux and unpredictability around who is there, they create a schedule that meets the people in the middle. So such as that everyone works from home Monday and Friday, and everyone is in the office Tuesday through Thursday. Says Balsteros. I'm sure I'm multiplying. I'm sure I'm killing this name. Hello, dark and lovely. How you doing? I'm coming to you in a second, darling. Welcome to the show. Of course, the last piece of this says, where there is unrest, there's usually a need to meet. I'm gonna drop the link after the show, but I want to make sure that you guys get a better sense of what from just reading this, right? Dark and Lovely says, hey Mentor Shelley, it sounds like coffee badging is equal to remote working. If workers are not careful, they will force everyone to scan their badges, enter and exit the building. Potential Big Brother situation. Yeah, it could lead to that if they're not careful. I think a lot of what is happening with the whole coffee badges trend is that people they literally do not want to they don't want to be in the office. Let's be clear. They don't want to be in the office. And if they feel like they're being forced to be in the office, people protest in different ways. Now, from an employee standpoint, we define what coffee badging is, how it's being used, what's being done, and why it can become an issue going forward. You guys have to also realize that a lot of the employers are wanting to use some of them they're not they're remote working adverse. They're adverse. They have an adverse reaction to remote work. That's part of the problem. They have an adverse reaction to remote work. So a lot of them are going to resist, if they have an opportunity to, resist the urge to keep these schedules open where people can work from home some days and work in the office some days. Some of those employers are using this as a way to not allow their employees. They want everybody to come back to work. Sometimes in some situations they don't even have space to house all the employees, but they want to have that. They want to use that. Well, if they work remote, we can't collaborate. That's nonsense. People collaborate via technology means all the time. People can collaborate on video chat. People can collaborate through text. People can collaborate through what do you call it, Mondays, through all kinds of different means. So let's not use the excuse that your employees cannot collaborate through technological means. It's just a way for some employers to get people back into the office. Because of course there are a few employees that made it bad for everybody else. So coffee badging is a way literally for people to go, they said I have to come in for a few hours. They literally come in, look around, see what's going on. If they don't see any higher ups, they leave. That's what it sounds like coffee badging pretty much boils down to. How is coffee badging going to affect employees? Let me put that question. How is coffee badging going to affect employees negatively? It can, because the visceral reaction that employers are going to be like, well, no coffee badging, or in other words, we want you to come back in the office full time when we're not flexible at all, right? They could take a hard stance on it, so that could be one of the reactions. Going to affect. Let me make sure I put the question in the chat. Affect employees negatively. Yeah, it could become that kind of an issue. How can it affect them positively? The employer, unfortunately, the power of this in a sense is in the employer's hands in a sense. And you also have to consider the fact that unless you decide to leave, or unless you're in a position where you not necessarily command but coerce, not command but schmooze or influence their decisions, coffee badging can definitely backfire on employees more so. But it's also in the best interest of the employer to make sure that their most valuable resource, which was human resources. Hello, shameless plug-in on the human resources part here. To try to work with your employees to find a happy medium. happy medium in this particular situation would be flex schedule, where you have set days where people come in and you have set days where people work from home. Or you either let them work from home fully if they're able to, or have them come into the office if you feel as an employer that is best. How does coffee badging affect employers' negativity? Negatively, I mean, it affects employers because they're not sure when their people are coming in and when their people are going out. So people say, well, I'm coming in for a few hours. What are those few hours? What are you going to be doing? There's accountability on either side that's going to be required. So, coffee badging, I would say it's not the most productive trend. Let's be clear. Um, I'm not gonna. It's not a productive trend. That's just my take on just what this is looking like. Although when we talked about quiet quitting before, people are like, "Oh, well, I mean, quiet quitting is people just literally doing the basics for coasting." And people took that as well. Well, they're not doing their jobs. That's not what quiet quitting's definition was. But copy badging, it's not productive in a sense where there's not a set schedule for people to understand what you'll be doing when you are in the office versus not. If you have those things in structure, you have those things in place, great. If you don't have those things in place and you're literally just saying, I'm coming in for 2 hours because I need to print off this, and this, there's no meetings attached to it, there's no interaction with another person to take care of this particular duty, or you have to take care of this project or whatever, then there's coffee badging is not an issue. Now it becomes an issue when you have to meet with someone, or you have meetings, or you have projects that you're working on that does require you to be in person, and you said, oh, well, I don't see anybody, I'm going home. At the end of the day, folks, if you're in the job market and you have a flexible schedule, or there's some form of you have to report to the office one day a month or something like that, you do have to be accountable for your actions. I'm not about to let you guys off the hook with that. Let's be clear. So I'm not about to say, okay, well, coffee badging is fine. No, as a career coach and as somebody on the other side of it, on the HR, coming from the HR standpoint, the employer has to be accountable, but the employee has to be accountable as well, because we're all adults here. And of course, if you're not reporting and not handling your business, I always say that if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna follow some trend, make sure it's gonna be beneficial to you in your career, short and long term. So if it's not, then make sure you don't get caught up in the nonsense and it ends up backfiring and affecting you negatively in your career. But of course, guys, I always want to make sure that you know what's in the know. I mean, I've been hearing about coffee badging for a few months now. I personally don't think it's a productive trend if you don't have certain parameters in place. As I always tell you, I'm not usually for or against anything directly, as long as if you understand that there's strategy with each situation. Of course, Dark and Lovely says, I think a happy medium is to have employees set part-time hours, maybe 20, in a system for the hours they work. This could be done weekly, easily adjusted if something comes up. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. You definitely get what I'm saying, Dark and Lovely. If it's structured in some way, like how you have in the article, it talks about the fact that if either you have people not coming to work on Monday and Friday, and then for the other 3 days, people come into the office full time. If it's something structured like that, or you come in Monday and Wednesday, and then you work from home the rest of the week, as long as communication and accountability is taking place on both sides, I don't have an issue with coffee badging. Now, if it's not being done properly and you're supposed to be here, but you're doing whatever you feel like doing, then you're going to have a problem with the employer. And this can also backfire on you because you're not conducting yourself in a professional manner as far as where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, what to do, what's on your list of duties, things of that nature. So exactly, yeah. So as long as there's accountability on either side, and you're handling your business on either side, and the employer's not trying to make changes every 5 seconds, we should be fine. At the end of the day, responsibility and accountability in your positions, in your jobs, whether you're running a business or you're working for a business, accountability and responsibility has to be paramount in those equations, guys. And of course, if you are looking, I know these job trends are all over the place. I'm sure I'm about to run into another one pretty soon. Depending on TikTok or whatever social media platform makes another job trend popular, so to speak. But I'll definitely be discussing this a little bit more, and also I definitely want to do a deep dive, maybe definitely with hopefully soon, if I get hear back from her, a Black Women Making Money, Miss Cherie. We're gonna be talking a little bit more about AI, and of course, she has some videos coming up, and I want to collaborate with her on that for sure. We're going to be discussing how AI is affecting in different industries, and how you can prepare for all of that. Those are the next couple of videos that I'll be talking to, maybe discussing it live, or maybe discussing it in a video, and how you guys can prepare. But of course, if you guys want to talk to me or work with me one on one in regards to anything you have going on career wise, and you're looking for strategy, or if you're looking for maybe getting some training or getting some coaching for your next interview, or for salary negotiations and things of that nature, you can definitely go to mentorshelley.com/consultations. I will definitely work with you one-on-one to get those things squared away, and we work together to make sure that you are ultimately prepared for all of your career opportunities. And of course, if you have just general questions, you can go to mentorshelley.com/contact, where you can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours, guys. If you found this information helpful, educational, and you definitely want to pass it on, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, or wherever you're listening to this, or you're watching this video. And of course, this is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. Join me on my blog as well at mentorshelley.com. Leave comments. You can send me suggestions at mentorshelley.com/contact. All right, guys, take care. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, as we cover these trends to make sure that it's going to be beneficial, and if it's not, that we understand what we need to do for all of these trends to be of some benefit, as long as we understand them. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Thank you so much, Dark and Lovely, for participating in the live. You guys take care. You have a good one. Bye-bye.